because reconnecting to the other one didn't work. All right. So, oh wow, look at all these filters and shit. Okay, sure, why not? It's like I kicked everybody out. Yay! And now I'm on 8 millimeter film. Okay, so Doug and I made a pact to not attack victims. Eyes on the prize. You know, the Church of Scientology, which is a legal church. It's legal. Slavery's legal. Uh, Forced abortions are legal. Forced marriages, legal. It's all legal. And with that kind of stuff, yeah, I'm not fucking about with that. Mm-mm. No. And neither was Doug. And we go through recovery periods and recovery times. And it's not all uniform. Uh, Chris Shelton and I did uh, our, I guess, first videos and first stuff around the same time. And I remember, you know, he had seen some cult therapy specialists, and he said, yeah, they said I recovered like, almost completely. Like they say it takes most people 10 years, and I'm like I'm recovered in 5 years, 6 years later. We're like, oh yeah, this is a lifelong thing. Yeah. And especially if you've been, uh, someone's at our front door. I don't have a front door. I'm outside. So, if you go through, whether it's Scientology or, hardcore Catholics or a domestic situation, you start stacking those up, you got a lifetime of recovery. It's just going to, you get so accustomed to the abuse, you get so accustomed to the control that, and the, the really, for me personally, one of the most difficult things that I'm not sure I'll ever really get over, at least it seems that way, is uh, thinking of myself as something that is good at all in any way. Because it's been sort of put in my mind, and I have put in my mind, that everything I do is for selfish purposes, or what they call in Scientology, evil purposes. And it's just, and before Scientology, it was uh, domestic stuff, and it's just I cannot do anything right. I can't do anything right. Somehow the video went private. God damn it. Oh, but it's not now, right? It's public now. Hello, hummingbird. These are vicious creatures. Bet you hear some of that wind now. Yeah, it's just really, really difficult. Thank you, Form 13909. What is a Form 13? Why is that your username? Uh, just this weekend, I went and hung out with my cousin Matt, who we did a record with Rick in 2002. And I got, when I left, his wife sent me a message, a very, very sweet message about how, you know, just being around inspired them and how this creative energy and whatever. And you know what's funny about that to me is that I don't feel like I did any of that at all. I don't feel that creative. Uh, I don't feel that inspiring. I don't feel that inspired. It's always an uphill climb. There's a plug for my album. Climb to the bottom. As soon as you get to the top, you're at the bottom again. That's what it feels like for me all the time. It's just, there's nothing ever good enough. Nothing ever good enough. Yeah, I'm using a filter. Look, we can have a dance party. Monday morning dance party. Well, I can't do much about the 360p. I'm just happy that there is I mean, I am in the middle of nowhere, man. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Texas. Here, no filter. Um, Tim Greenglass. Who sang "Falling Up"? Uh, but yeah, that's the idea. Climb to the bottom, falling upwards. I guess, yeah, because or yeah, the MC It was very MC Escherish imagery in the video. I prompted the AI to do that because there's no end in sight. There's no end in sight. I mean, eventually, it's all going to come to an end. But I just, don't see it. When my friend and peer, more of a peer than a friend, but I consider him a friend, and he would have considered me a friend as well. It's just that we met under more professional circumstances, so it was like an associate, and then became a peer, and then friendship. Yeah, he was moving to Germany, and he killed himself a week before he was supposed to leave, and then his album came out a week later. He killed himself 1 week before his album came out, and he was smart enough to work alone so that he could make his own decisions about his catalog, and was also lucky enough to have been heard by a great filmmaker, uh, and was also savvy enough to know that the timing when he did his distribution and publishing, that there wasn't much else on the third party licensing catalogs that was like what he did. Nico Rasu. I feel it's just as natural to feel selfish as it is to be selfish. It's not always that bad to do things for yourself. Self love is part of growing up. Empathy. I don't know. I don't know if any of that made sense to me. Um, just part of the problem, I guess, because like, well, if I dig down deep, and think about all of the whatever shit I've gone through in therapy, like, I wasn't supposed to be. I was an oops, and and not only that, but it was a oops that was not someone else. It was someone else's oops, and the circumstances for me were different than they were for my brother, and uh, and there was a lot of resentment, and being treated differently, sometimes good, sometimes bad. So just always feel like don't belong. Like it'd be better if I was out of the picture. And had suicidal thoughts and ideation from a very early age, and suicide attempts at an early age, which were, when I think about it, like just it's how a kid would try to kill themselves. It wouldn't work, you know. Uh, Trying to drown yourself by yourself in a bathtub by holding your breath. But uh, there was never a time where I died and stayed dead. And in January, whenever I feel like I had probably the closest I've ever been to just like letting go of everything and dying, I couldn't. There was no. I wanted to, but there was something that seemed to be like, nah, you can't do that. And I don't know what that thing was, and it could all just be a hallucination. I'm still pissed about it because what I think I saw, was eternal peace and infinity, so timelessness. So in that, you know, timeless space, whatever you want to call it, liminal space, I don't know, everything is okay. Everything is perfect, actually. And so it doesn't matter whether you're there, whether I'm here or there. And I tried to use that as an argument and it didn't work. So it's like, oh, there's people that need you. What does that even mean? I'm not some kind of fucking medium or psychic or woo woo person. I just have experienced things that I don't know how to explain. Um, so from that experience, I just say, okay, all the things that I don't know and I can't explain, you handle it. Whatever that is, whatever you are, whatever that unknown force is, you get to handle the rest of my life. And I just pray for a quick death. I don't mean to sound morbid, like, I really don't. I'm not suicidal because I know that it won't work. It won't work. I can't go until it's my time. But when Brother Deej killed himself, my knee jerk reaction was jealousy, which had, like, usually when my friends kill myself, I'm very sad. But at this time, a few months ago, I was just jealous. I was like, you motherfucker. You know, he got his work done. Go on Spotify. Brother Deej. You'll love all of it. I mean, pretty sure you'll love most of it. Um, it's good music. It's a great legacy. And in a week after he killed himself, the last album came out. Got I Relief refilling the water out here. Takes about 30-45 minutes to fill up one tank, and his tank will hold three. We did one last night. I hear him coming down the road. He's still got another one to fill up. How is it possible that I'm here? Mental illness, Alzheimer's. There's just things he doesn't remember, which works out great. Because if he doesn't remember it, he can't get mad about it. And there's nobody coming out here to verify or check even what he said is going on. So I wanted to come out here and see if what he said was happening is here and real. And it is. And since I'm staying in Lake Charles, the his old house, and I don't really want him there, I came here to sort of give a feeling that someone, a connection home, a connection to home, so that this feels like home too. And this is stuff that I talk to my therapist and my psychiatrist about, just to verify. Hey, do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this will work? Because um, this has been a real tricky deal. If you've ever dealt with someone who's had the disease, you'll most certainly probably relate that it gets really, it can be really strange uh, situation. Oh, hey, Whitney. When I was very young, hey, Sophia, I was quite a bleak kid, but then I was attacked and had to fight for my life. Since then, I haven't thought about it again. To be frank, I remember how happy I was to be alive. Yeah. Um, were you attacked by someone you knew, or was it a stranger? I'm curious. Oh, constantly, Whitney. She says it's good to have your therapist to verify you're not crazy. This is why it's every week. Because from one week to the next, hell, I don't know. I question my sanity and I question my worth and my value all the time. Am I doing the right thing? Am I being a good dad? Uh, am I being a good partner? Holy shit, Whitney. I feel like you've told me that before, but uh, that's a to me that is a uh, yeah that when you are being killed, when someone is killing you or trying to, um, I guess I guess it depends. Like you can take it personally, or it can be impersonal. Um, Me personally, I feel like an impersonal attack, uh, I would react very much similarly. And I can be very, if someone's aggressive with somebody that I care about, and is trying to hurt them, and I get very aggressive, and and it's about fighting for life. But if it's personal, it has taken on a different after taste, where wow, what the hell did I do to my friend or my family member to make them want to kill me? Why do people want to kill each other? It can be an introverting thing and something that's hard to cope with if you don't get some help, and easy to find maladaptive coping solutions for it, which in my case, I did that a lot in my youth. Uh, I didn't really receive help. I didn't necessarily ask for help. Uh, and the help that I did ask for was the wrong help. Scientology ain't helpful for for me. 40 years. Yeah, Nick says my stepbrother had the same deal. He wasn't violent. He just lost his marbles suddenly. Wow, that's scary. Sophia says it has to be weird to see Ira in this version when you're cursed with a full memory of who he was, but also a way to heal because he's lost his power. Great point. Last night, he was telling me his arthritis in his hand was really bothering him. I was like, well, squeeze my hand. And that actually was therapeutic because he squeezed with all he could, and it was just like a baby. So uh, it's a healing thing. Um, wouldn't have thought it would be so quick. But I do remember the other uh, times where people had the same issue and it went quick. I brought this sprinkler out here for the grass to grow because he planted some seeds. Try to get that grass growing.
Yep.
Got 50 more minutes.
You about ready for breakfast?
Sure.
Bacon and eggs?
Oh, that sounds good. Bacon and eggs sounds good. Yeah, it's a trip, man. Bacon and eggs sound good. Oh, that one almost got me. Mmm. Yeah, he was running the sprinkler a lot, and last night we ran out of water, so we had to go down to the watering hole. A bunch of cows out there, and it's so nice. There's so much wildlife here, and they just don't pay attention to you because they're still like, what, huh? You do what? Even the deer, they'll just chill out here and look at you. It's like a turkey shoot. Um, and Stella wanting to learn to shoot and at least learn how to skin an animal. Uh, that's good because Probably won't take more than one trip for her to get what she needs out of it. Messages while I'm what? So when I got to Austin, my phone was just blowing up constantly. Yeah, it's like a safari. In fact, they used to have a safari not far from here. They had all kind of animals, giraffes and tiger. I think they actually stopped that because people were being dumb, opening their windows and shit with tigers and elephants, pissing off the elephants. I mean, don't piss off an elephant, man. You give them their space. They're big. They crush you. What did I miss? My brother just crawled in the bed, pulled the covers over his head, and 6 weeks later, 5 cops couldn't get him in the car. I missed something. Huh. What did your brother do, Willie? Why did it take 5 cops to get him into the car? Elephants are petty. Yeah. And they made a movie called Dumbo. Talk about a misrepresentation of elephants, right? Oh, he had schizophrenia. And I texted my therapist, last week, like, "Are you sure I'm not schizophrenic?" She's like, "I'm absolutely sure. Like, you've asked me this before, and no, you're not schizophrenic." Because earlier in my recovery, uh, in therapy and stuff, like that was a potential diagnosis, was schizoaffective or schizoaffective disorder. Uh, and there was only one person who treated me for schizophrenia. She was a nurse practitioner, and she just read the chart. She was like, she equated schizoaffective with schizophrenic. It's like that's not even the same thing. She's like, just take your medicine. But no, the diagnosis was made in 2021. Was the last diagnosis by Susan Urich. HPPD, which took, I mean, it was good to know finally that, like, you know, someone who had like 35 years experience, who had heard about this disorder, because most people that I've talked to about, they don't know about it. They don't even know. They've heard about it, but they don't know what it is. And she knew what it was. I didn't know a lot about it. So she did some uh, some research and pulled a bunch of paperwork from a 2020 study. And I think water just got on the screen. Um, and she was like, yeah, per the DSM, per this research, like, yeah, the HPPD, major depressive disorder, and she didn't diagnose me with generalized anxiety. Uh, it's just complex PTSD. There's a jackrabbit, big old sucker. Um, yeah, complicated or complex post-traumatic stress. And she also did diagnose me with early childhood development disorder. So there's things that I just, most of my childhood I spent in the woods with my friend Justin. That we were each other's therapy. Home was like where you went to eat and sleep. And the rest of the time, outside. Willie Weed took 7 years, but he found a drug that helped. That is good. A lot of the newer schizophrenic drugs that treat schizophrenia have been reported very successful. So that's good. I'm wondering if it's one of those. But when the law changed several years ago, doctors can't force meds. He decided they were trying to make him a drug addict. Yeah, that's another reason I always think that I'm schizo because people who are schizophrenic hate taking their medicine. I I don't like being dependent on drugs. I don't like the idea of gotta take your medicine, no matter how much it helps, because there's always a drawback and withdrawal. And if I can make do without it, even if I'm a little uncomfortable, then when the world goes to shit, hey, I'm not robbing a pharmacy or trying to fucking fix myself up with pharmaceuticals. Um, you ran every day. This is Whitney. 8 miles every day to be out of the house. Wow. To just to get out of the house, like you didn't want to be in the house, so you go running. I can relate. It was either in my room or out of the house. I mean, when I was young, up until 12 years old, it was always outside. But yeah, in my teenage years, right before I got emancipated, I've just barricaded myself in my room, practice playing guitar. Should be back in town for the Thursday broadcast. I'm probably going to leave tomorrow. I have a appointment with my psychiatrist tomorrow, so I'll take that on my lunch while I'm on the road. And my therapist can't just cancel my appointment for Wednesday. She's got some kind of thing going on, which is fine. I can always email her, um, and we'll be doing next week too. Creative persons struggle with psychiatric meds in general. This is Tim because sometimes they inhibit the creativity or seem to. Yeah, I mean, Ethan Hawke said something really cool about art and artists because I don't know if every single artist encounters this. It can't be 100%, but you know, where I'm from, like it's just like it's an unneeded thing, even though it's integrated into the culture. Zydeco and Cajun are the thing. Like Zydeco and Cajun, that's the only kind of music they care about down there. So, um, if you play something else, if you're inspired by music from other places, uh, they're just not interested. It's not Cajun. It's not Creole. Or or East Texas. And so if you're in a band that does that and you're an artist, creative person, it's, um, just it's disappointing because you've got people that are just like, you done yet? And you're just like pouring your heart out. And you do that for years, you know, or I did it for years. I do it, did it, been there, done that. And Deej actually commented on it. My friend that committed suicide, he said they don't, you know, no one appreciates what I do here, and he's right. No one appreciated it. I mean, that's the that's a totalist viewpoint. No one. And of course, people did. I appreciate what he did. I love what he did. But he went to Europe, and like any support he needed at any time to continue doing what he did, he got. And when he comes home, he's just Deej, and no one gives a shit. And like, you know, uh, no one is recognizing the beautiful art that he's made, or in a way validating the emotions that he's transmutated into art. You know, the sublimation that occurs in the creative process. Um, I think with regard to what Tim said in the psychiatric meds, um, this is going to be bias big time because it dulls, it seemed to dull some of the emotions, and those emotions that you transmutate are what sometimes, this is where Ethan Hawke came in. He said, you know, an artist may not be considered a craftsman like a carpenter, which is like a carpenter can build you a house and build you a desk and build it, and it's like physical and very, you know, solid. Uh, and that's what they can do for you. They can make it very beautiful and whatever. Uh, and many people don't appreciate the fact that art, as intangible as it can be, like music, or ineffable would be a better word probably. Um, there are people who need to hear some of the things that you're working out because they don't have the creative ability to do that. And for them to hear that and to know that another human being has experienced that and gotten through it and transmutated it into something that can be understood or felt, uh, is is like a medicinal practice. It has a cycle. It has a value that goes beyond, you know, a $50 desk. You know, one song that may be of little value to someone may be the song and the thing that fills a person's heart up and gives them uh, confidence or uh, closure or any number of things. And that should be, it isn't most of the time, but it should be treasured and valued highly. So Deej was not wrong about that. And I've brought this up. I keep saying the same shit over and over. Like, what would it be like if I went to Europe and people loved what I did and wanted to support me? They're like, you need to stay and make music and keep doing this while you're alive. And coming home to Louisiana and realizing that no one ever really gave a shit about that here. Um, that to know that my own home, where I came from, where all of the potential for the music that I make came from, it's just garbage. Hey Leo, what's up, Leo? You're in Mexico? Well, I'm in a place that used to be Mexico. I am in Menard, Texas, Menard County. What was the name of the ranch that I'm on? Elm Springs, in Elm Springs, which is near Junction, Texas, in London, Texas. So I'm in the former Spanish Empire. Yeah, man. Really good to see you, Leo. If you disappear for too long, we'll all worry, I think. But you're not going back. Your name is Leo, and you're not fucking about. Yeah, I'm really glad I was able to catch a signal for Monday, because today is Monday, the 3rd, 2024. We got a real promising hurricane season. The vertical shear is like going to be non-existent, and the water is as hot as it usually is in August. So it's the same conditions as last year, and which was bad. Bad prognosis. Good for hurricanes, bad for us. So also in a way, in my doomsday prepper mind, and always prepared and be prepared and all that scout stuff, and the shit hits the fan. This is where we'll probably end up, because I'm not letting the kids stay through a fucking Category 3 hurricane. The problem is that the storms now do this thing called rapid intensification, and that's what I was trying to explain to my ex-wife in 2021. Don't Yeah, it's a Category 3, and you may think, because it, in certain conditions, when the hurricane makes landfall, it weakens, and it does. But there have been conditions in the last few years where the warm water actually, right at the end, gives it a whole bunch of, like a big old flood the gas pump, just, and 200-mile-an-hour sustained winds. Now, the house wasn't even damaged, so they could have stayed. They would have been without electricity. But I'm here to tell you that storms like that will scare anybody. And for a kid to be staying there, for my kids to be staying there with their mama, that's also probably would be scared and like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? Like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. Y'all know what this is? I'm bad at doing it. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up. Rain season. This is Leo. Rain season is starting here in Jalisco. Is that how you say it? I live on a ranch too. Rain on the ranch is a magical thing. Uh, hey, Blues. It's also bad here in Bavaria. We have red alarm alert for heavy rain, and multiple cities are already overflooded. Damn. Hey, Tish. Yeah, I mean, that's just like, it's always been that way. It's kind of like California and earthquakes. Willie, I've seen 80-mile-an-hour winds make it here from Gulf Hurricane, 300 miles inland. Yeah, dude, I mean, when you see shit just like trees sideways. Big ass pine trees, and then they snap like a matchstick, and the wood flies everywhere. And it, from a distance, it looks like little pieces of a toothpick, but it's a whole ass tree. The sound that it makes is so loud because there's the snap, which is almost like a lightning crack, but there's also the vibration of all that force going into the ground. And you can sometimes, if it's close enough, it feels like a little bomb went off. So you see a lot of that hurricanes where, uh, yes, turkeys are weird. They're hilarious though. If you've ever watched a group of turkeys, man, it's fun. The way they do, they be turkeying. Got three big ass bottles of shine. I'm assuming that he's selling or trading shine out here. It's a valuable commodity. Just not sure I'd want to be selling it where I live. It really is beautiful out here. Um, I'm glad that he's got this space. This is, you know, this was his dream for many years. Uh, so he's got it. Good. Now maybe he'll. Hmm. I'm curious if there's something else. This is a question. If there's something else y'all would like to see me do, let me know. Because I'm running out of ideas. I have been waiting to call Tammy to see if she's ready to tell her story until I can be in one place for more than a week. And also, in addition, be in the right headspace to talk about a tragic story, you know. And for some reason, I just been thinking about Doug a lot. I don't know why. Is it ready?
Nope.
No.
No, it'll be ready when you're ready.
Oh, okay. We got another 25 minutes. Okay, Blues. Sophia said, "Oh, so Bavaria still hasn't worked on getting more ground unsealed and broadening rivers so the water can go somewhere safely. Apparently not. But if you think about all of isn't there a ton of like mountains elevation probably make it pretty difficult, I would think, to get. I mean, water controlling nature is yeah, good luck. New Orleans is a modern marvel still because it's all underwater. It's below sea level. Every place in New Orleans is below sea level, unless you get in a like a big building and go up, you know, 14 floors or whatever, 5 floors. It's just a giant bowl in the middle of a bunch of water, and it takes 12 big ass pumps to constantly pump water out. You know, makes me wonder at what point will the United States be like, hey, it's just too expensive to have New Orleans anymore, so yeah, we're not gonna. We're not going to renew the maintenance contract. I know turkeys are really intelligent, Tim, but they look so stupid. Don't don't you know what I mean? That's what's that's why I enjoy watching them. They're just funny. Not necessarily stupid. They're funny. Tim, I live amongst wild turkeys. They don't seem that smart. Fearless, they will stand in the road during mating season. Hey, Lorna. Hey, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. It's one thing at a time.
Buttermilk biscuits are ready though.
Oh, what did he say? I know Alex said something perverted if he said, just kidding. Don't show me that. I don't even know. Show me your genitals. Hop on a plane and come to the UK. I'll look after you. Hey man, if I could just like hop on a plane and go to the UK whenever I wanted, that would be cool. And I would totally do that. But by the time I might be able to do that, you'll be 50 years old. Tell us a story about the ranch you're on. Okay, so Leo, this part of Texas is in the middle part of Texas. Junction is kind of basically in the middle, which you probably already know. But there were trail rides that would go from all the way down to from Laredo up to North Dakota. And there is a shadow box that Ira made of some of his ancestors' trail ride tools. And it was a very interesting little shadow box. And when the railroads came, it ended all of that. There was just um, no need for the cattle drives anymore, and uh, the cattleman trade kind of started to die down. But if you ever seen the movie City Slickers, uh, the one where they do the trail ride, you could it's essentially like this cut. If you look north and south, like down to Laredo, all the way up, basically a straight line. So you would this ranch would be a couple a century and a half ago. Um, there would be uh, tra- big cattle rides, and you'd hear. I mean, it would be you'd hear them. Just imagine thousands of cattle moving through an area, and what a trip, that must have been to go all the way from Mexico nearly to Canada with all those cattle. Uh, this would have been the middle point. This would have been a middle point or a more hospitable area to stop and camp. This is right smack dab in the middle of Texas. They ran off all of the natives and the settlers and whatnot, making room for their big trail. There were several trails. The Shawnee Trail, um, there's three main trails. Um, Pecos River, which is now not much of a river. It used to be a very wild river, but as things developed and after the railroad was finished, they started diverting water and making canals for irrigation and stuff like that. So that's a little bit of history about this area. Uh, Junction, Menard County is smack dab in the middle of the trail ride. Yeah, well, science and engineering helps New Orleans defy physics, and it's very expensive. It's got to be expensive. These pumps are huge. The levees are massive. Um, it held against a Cat 4, but Cat 4s are seemingly becoming normal. So it's just a matter of time. There's always it's generational. My mom remembers Hurricane Audrey, and it destroyed Cameron Parish. There are so many volunteers that went down there, and these are all country boys, and they'd never seen death like that. Um, what do you make if you're a farm boy from Eunice, Louisiana? Uh, you see a cow all mutilated in a tree. How did the cow get up there? Body parts floating around from being ripped to shreds by stuff. Um, yeah, Hurricane Audrey was a real bad one, and that was my mom's generation. So yeah, we all seem to have one or more of really really bad ones. Laura was just absolutely catastrophe. They're about to implode or explode the highest standing uh, commercial building in Lake Charles. Used to be called the Calcasieu Marine Tower because Hurricane Laura did so much damage, and the bids for all of the contractors to fix it was like is like you might as well just tear it down because it's all glass windows and most of them were blown out. Thick glass. I used to have an office in one of these buildings, in one of those. I used to have an office in that building, and the glass is thick. So the pressure, air pressure, wind speed, and all the debris, like more than half of the windows on the building were blown out and replaced with boards. Then the boards started getting soaked, and that water and moisture into the structural parts of the building. So, you know, uh, they went through it. It's taken them 3 years. I'm sure that risk management and all that's like, well, it's just better to get rid of it. So the skyline's going to be different real soon. I hope they let us know when they're going to do the demolition. I'd love to film that. Um, Lorna making some changes maybe. Seems too little too late. Still can't sleep. Bad migraine stuff. Muscles losing it. Hard to believe things will get better. Yeah, I know that feeling. And there's not much I could say that would help. There's not much you can do for yourself that will help. Um, I still recommend breathing because if you're feeling that way, it's hard to see how anything could get better. And you're breathing and you're just living that moment of I don't see how things are going to get better fully. Um, then another moment will come, and it might not be the same amount of dread. It might be more. It might be less. You might have a 1 minute of I feel all right, and then I feel like shit for the rest of the day. That's why I say slow is smooth and smooth is fast because um, at least you got that. Yeah, if you got 1 minute, whereas previously you had 0 minutes, then that's progress. Um, and you may feel like shit the rest of the day. But if you got that 1 minute in, like, and you can savor that, um, that's about that's about all I could offer in way of advice on that because you know withdrawals plus having a condition where you need the medicine and you're not getting it, um, it exacerbates and potentiates the withdrawal symptoms. I have faith in you that you're going to make it through. Um, but that's just faith. Dikes for the win. Without them, I would live closer to the North Sea. Hey, we had guys from our state legislation and state government go to the Netherlands and Switzerland and Germany to look at how it's built over there. Because the Netherlands shouldn't even be there, right? Um, Yet it is. But in true Louisiana form and fashion, they just went and looked at it and, nah, we can do a better job than that. And what that ends up being is we don't want to spend the money on that. We'd rather take that money and do something else with it. Yes, give me tips. I am a foodie and curious about local stuff. At Sophia. We had top chat on again. I missed half of everything. Yeah, I hate that. Don't shouldn't it just be default live chat? I have to go in and make sure that it's on that every broadcast. Otherwise, yeah, like why would they do that? Top chat? Are we playing a game? Is it basketball? I got a basketball game tomorrow. Hey Martha. Bonjour. Glad to see you on a Monday morning. I am in Texas. If you go to the previous video, you can see me shoot a gun. I'm not too bad at it. Leo, that's awesome. Aren't the cattle herders the real cowboys? Well, the cowboys were known as the Red Sash. From my, if I'm understanding correctly, the original cowboys were the Red Sash gang, and so it was not good to be called a cowboy because it's like the gang. Um, but over time, they were. I think they were rustlers because you get a lot of money for cattle. But the red sash would also just murder people and take their shit and rob people. So, but in my opinion, yeah, the cattle like cattlemen, those were real cowboys in the turn in the way that people think of cowboys. Martha's gone through two cat fours. Oh God. See, and Tell me you weren't scared. Willie, jacking it in San Diego. Oh man, Lorna, not much to hang on to, man. Super hard to see how things get livable. They may not be. They may not be livable, but survivable. I mean, I it's hardly feel like I hardly feel like life is livable. It's not. Like, I mean, it's poor prognosis. You're not going to make it. None of us are. But in all seriousness, if it gets really, really bad, try to commit to sitting and breathing in whatever comfortable position that you can find, uh, and focus on the breath, focus on breathing, and take it. If you have to take it moment or second by second to tolerate it, then that's what I would recommend doing. And it may sound crazy or silly or pointless to be just sitting doing nothing, but you're not doing nothing. You are breathing through every moment just to get through it. So that's a lot of effort. Don't discredit that. Yeah, I don't think the warm bath with Epsom salt is going to really solve the problem, but it's not a bad idea. As you say, it helps with vascular dilation, may help relax some of the pain. Ibuprofen, but you even have an appetite. Can you hold anything down? How's your stomach doing? There's all kind of things that could be problematic. Well, you're welcome. You're losing it. Good. That can only mean one thing, that you're gonna have something to lose. Don't give up. Look, I even wrote a fucking song about it, and it's very hypocritical of me. Look, it's backwards too. That's stupid. But yeah, don't give up. my my interpretation of it now is that don't give up, not necessarily because it's like a quitter thing, but don't give up because you really don't have much of an option, so you might as well tell yourself that you can't give up. You don't have an option. You're here until you're not. And believe it or not, things do tend to get better. Uh, they may get better very slowly. They do tend to get better. And I've had some pretty severe things happen, like with the HPPD was probably one of the most fucked up things that I could imagine happening. And it's a rare orphan disease. And I still experience stuff, hallucinations all the time. Uh, I never would have thought I would be able to live a normal life. Um, Again, thought I was on a permanent acid trip. And I am. Life's a trip. I just, kind of like when if you've ever done a hallucinogen and you're like, well, I can fight it or I can just roll with it. Uh, that was the sort of state that I found myself having to make a decision to do my whole life like that. I can fight it or I can just roll with it. It's all uncomfortable. It's all extremely icky. Uh, but I'm just going to roll with it. There's just there's good times, there's bad times, and sometimes they seem totally off balance. That's what they'll talk to you about in therapy is trying to get a balance going. Uh, yeah, so Willie, psilocybin helps. That's general advice. It may help a lot of people, but it will not help necessarily everybody. I didn't need to take the psilocybin that I took in 2021. I shouldn't have. It exacerbated my symptoms that had been, uh, you know, gone for years. So I had to redo some of the work that I did to cope with the HBPD because I can just sit and trip out. Oh, that's cool, Martha. She just Googled the red sash. Cattle ranchers likely made it up after the fact to paint their Johnson County war opponents as criminals and outlaws. Sophia says, our dikes hold up reliably, and I was behind it at 90 kilometers per hour. Got soaked 10 meters away from the sea, but worth it. Yeah. And Sophia's right. You're stronger than you think. You're always stronger than you think. Ira and I watched 1917 last night. It came out last Saturday. It's a good reminder. I love watching war films because the human body can withstand so much abuse you don't realize it because the body is in even in degraded states is like, yeah, it's not that bad. When you see people in these what you would consider worst conditions, you're in a bombed out town and you've punctured your hand and you've got and there's like infection everywhere, gas, you've inhaled like 2 cups worth of debris and dirt and dust, and you've been shot and stabbed, and somehow you keep living. Uh, that's how much vitality humans can have. Um, and if that's the physical side of it, think about the mental side of it. How much you know resilience is built in. I think a big thing for me is it's just calming the fuck down, breathing, and doing the moment to moment thing. Oh, Martha says she was a little scared by a Cat 4, but her house was heavily hardened and lived in the highest point in town. It was hard to hear fruit orchard crashing down around us, but we jacked up. Okay, so if you're living in like, okay, I could see that. Um, I have my best friend's sister, her ex-husband built on a similar, he's in higher ground and 4 foot thick cement with rebar, and there's a basement, and it's just like super. Like you could pull a small army up there, and it would take a while to shoot through this thing. So and it has had pine trees fly at it at whatever speed, however much it takes to launch a fucking pine tree like a projectile, and it's hit the side of his house, and it just went boop. It probably made a big boom, um, but he was fine. There you go, Lorna. Willie, I was trapped on an island after being caught on it when a tornado ripped the trees in half around me. Damn. And Martha. Well, the one benefit I can say I got from childhood trauma is I can really transcend and dissociate from pain. I can just go, yeah, yeah, that's a good point. And I think you're learning that, Lorna. What if you can disassociate from it, that's a good, even just for a little bit, it gets easier. Just like practice with anything, it gets easier. And I'm like Martha, like I can dissociate like that. It's not even necessarily a positive trait. I wouldn't say it's necessarily always positive. It is useful, uh, but like when Doug died, I just immediately dissociated, and I haven't really processed all the grief. And grief, you go on forever grieving, but I didn't even start. You know, like it's just been grief as I go. Pushing out the truck from a mud hole the next day barefoot, I stepped on a broken bottle. Oh, damn. Mm-mm-mm. Bet it got infected. Or I bet you were trying to keep it from getting infected.
It's ready.
All right, cool.
We bring it out here or you want?
No, I didn't realize it was noon. So, y'all have a great week. I will be on Thursday doing some broadcasting, some radio, music stuff. Um, and what is it? Thursday, I'll also be doing the Ron Story Bro with my buddies, my gaming buddies. Um, yeah, Whitney, I have too, especially lately, and I've been rewatching stuff, and I really like how we did what we did. There was a lot of stuff that we did off the camera to prepare for the broadcast, and I'm looking forward to doing another backflash with Tammy. Um, but it's a whole, it's just a whole being ready, having the time and the attention and focus. Because there was a lot of focus that me and Doug and I would focus in on topics and figure out how we were going to present them and whatnot. And I miss that, and I wish we could do more of that. Good, Lorna didn't do that. Breathe, dissociate, go up in the clouds, go somewhere. If you're not comfortable in your body right now, go somewhere else. Um, all I had to do to prevent infection was a neoprene. Oh shit, damn dude, had red streaks up to your knee from the infection. Wow. Yep. All right. Love y'all too. Live long and prosper. See you next week or Thursday. Um, have a great day and be safe and have a great week. It's Monday. How do I end this on the fucking phone like this? All right. Y'all have a great day.